Hi, I'm Doug Keck. This is an EWTN Bookmark Brief. Just had the pleasure of speaking with Tom Peterson and Ryan Hanning about their book, The Willpower Advantage, Building Habits for Lasting Happiness, published by Ignatius Press, available through our EWTN Religious Catalog. Tell me, Tom, the willpower advantage, why do we need an advantage in willpower today, and what does that have to do with being a good Catholic?
It's all about unifying people of goodwill in living God's will. When we live God's will instead of our own will, or a weak will or a strong will, we find true happiness in life and that holiness. And when we're centered on Christ, everything goes better.
Right. Self-discipline seems to be a major issue that we're dealing with today, and you deal with in this book, right?
Absolutely. You know, we highlight the four forgotten truths, which is that God wants us to be happy, but the Christian life takes work. And that second truth is what people often forget. And so that leaning into the challenges, really to lean into the adventure of discovering our mission in life, takes self-discipline. And the beauty of the wisdom of the church is that she presents these virtues as a means to really become the people God has willed us to be. When Jesus says, I came that you have life and have it to the full, he meant to participate in his will, which is actually liberating and fills us with joy. And so the book is a means to help people to do that, hopefully in a practical way, in a joyful way, and really to learn from the wisdom of the church.
So let me ask you, so if I read this book and I go through it, then all my problems are solved?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
No, well, it takes work. It takes repeated work because we become what we do in habit. So if we can take the vices and work on getting rid of those and build those virtue muscles and keep repeating those, then we grow closer to Christ because we're repeating those virtues that Christ gave us in the Beatitudes and told us to live, and an example He set for us as well. So we decrease and He increases.
Now, Ryan, with something like this, part of the problem you have is that we no longer seem to live in a culture that supports these kinds of things. It's not a natural thing that you breathe every day. It's something you have to go and look for because, quite obviously, in the media, it's like virtually the opposite.
Yeah, the default of most people is not to live a virtuous life. In fact, the opposite of virtuous is vicious. And we don't like vicious people. We don't want to be vice-filled. And we know that when we live a life full of vice, it robs us of peace and joy. And so we don't have a culture that naturally points to this thing. But you know what? The human heart is bigger than our culture. The human heart has not changed. We all want more. In fact, we joke we're not statisticians, but 100% of people we surveyed all want more happiness. Yeah. And so this book hopefully is a representation of the wisdom of the church about God's will for us and how we can practically align our will with His by growing in these virtues.
One of the things that are unique in this book, you've got a spiritual audit. Explain that.
Spiritual, where do I stand with God, and what are the things that I need to work on, and what are the things that I'm doing pretty well on? Most of us really don't know. We have some idea, but then on those, what are the top 2 or 3 I really need to concentrate on that are stealing my peace and happiness so that I can find that true lasting happiness and holiness that's been maybe eluding me for all these years?
Certainly something everybody watches EWTN is interested in, so they should be interested in this book with Tom Peterson and Ryan Hanning's book, The Willpower Advantage, Building Habits for Lasting Happiness, available through our EWTN Religious Catalog, EWTNRC.com. Look for the entire interview on the network and on demand. I'm Doug Keck. Thanks for stopping by for another Bookmark Brief. We'll catch you then.